Yeah, and I think a lot of people do understand that restrictions do need to be put in place when we see this sort of outbreak develop as it is, but the timing's pretty rough, isn't it? With school holidays coming up, a lot of people planning to travel. There's going to be a lot of pain for a lot of businesses and families in the next few weeks.
There is, and that's why it's a proportionate response from the New South Wales government. And look, I've got kids of my own and we are heading into the school holiday period. But as the Premier pointed out, if these restrictions are not put in place now, far more draconian and restrictive measures would be required if a mass outbreak happened right throughout Sydney or even beyond Sydney. So as difficult as the coming days will be for millions of people that live in this city, I think it's an appropriate and proportionate response, because the alternative, far harsher restrictions, is not something anyone wants to face.
Okay, well, it certainly sounds like you're on the same ticket as the New South Wales government on that issue. I do want to turn to the New South Wales budget. There were a lot of sweeteners for New South Wales residents, plenty of measures aiming to ease the cost of living. Considering the times, it's hard to argue against that as well, isn't it? Hard to argue against a cash splash for families and schools at this sort of timing.
Well, look, on the budget, I do have to draw a line in the sand. At the end of the day, tolls are up, taxes are up, charges are up, fines are up, and really this budget is built on the back of the working families of New South Wales, and I'm not putting too fine a point on it. They're collecting something in the vicinity of $4.5 billion extra in stamp duty over a 2-year period. Fines over the forward estimates will be $3.5 billion, including a 36% increase in just 1 year. So the budget figures and the budget result are built on the back of working families, and there's virtually nothing, just a paltry amount going back into their pockets. They're the ones who are being sent the COVID bill, Ashley.
And what is Labor's policy when it comes to those fines that you just mentioned? Are you committing to put speed warning signs back up? Is that on your agenda? Can you promise New South Wales residents that you'd be a less fining government if you got there?
Less fining government. Well, look, we believe that high visibility policing and putting back warning signs right across the road network is the appropriate thing to do. I am simply not convinced that someone receiving a fine in the mailbox 2 weeks after the offence has been committed is a way of reducing the road toll. And I'll give you some statistics. 12 months ago, the New South Wales government was fining about 1,500 people a month. Currently, it's 27,000 people a month, and they're about to triple the number of speed cameras right across the New South Wales network. So you could be at about 50 or 60,000 people being fined a month. Most of those fines are 10 kilometres or below in terms of the range of offence, and this is having a huge impact. Now, I'd rather people not commit the offence in the first place, put the warning signs up, get more highway patrol on the streets, let's return to high visibility policing. That's the most appropriate response.